Oops. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live. I always scratch my nose. For some reason, when I go live, I always scratch my nose, and I'm trying to think of things to talk about before we wait for the guests to go live. Let's just wait and see. There she is. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Okay. Hi, Juvana.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good. I was about to wait longer. My time difference is not going well right now. I'm just very off track with the times right now.
That's okay. Yeah, you scared me. My God.
I scared myself. The shower. I have to get ready. And then when I checked the time, my boyfriend was like, "I think you're 2 hours early." I was like, "I am."
Yeah. No, the other day I thought this was at 10 a.m., so that that made me nervous
Oh snap. Okay, yeah,
because
that's
another thing I did was at 10 a.m.
yeah.
and um, I'm glad I didn't have to wake up earlier.
I know, right? That's what made
Hmm.
me happy too. I set up extra alarms, so I'm like, okay, if I had oversleep for some reason, I'll just do this or do this. But thankfully everything turned out fine. But we
Yeah.
can wait for a few more people to join, um,
Okay.
and then see what's up. How's the weather over there?
Breezy, but I'm all my windows are closed right now, so it's really hot, and I'm getting the afternoon sun right now. So
Oh,
like you see, there's like a lot of like beautiful ambient lighting and
yeah.
shadows cast all over my floor. So
Mhm.
that's gonna be fun to look at when like going through the studio.
Nice. You don't want to get a fan before we get started?
I have my AC on. It's just cooling the
Okay.
room right now.
Excellent. All right. Okay. I think we can get started now. I see
Okay.
some people. So we'll just get started. Let me just set up my laptop and move this around a little. Okay. Cool. All right. So hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My guest is a very special artist. Her name is Juvana Soliven. And she is a visual artist and educator based on Hawaii. She has exhibited nationally and internationally in Iceland, Netherlands, and in Munich. So that's very exciting. I'm very excited for everybody to hear her story. So thank you for joining, Giovanna.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so let's get started with where you're from.
I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Mhm.
So, and I'm now here again.
Yes.
So, it's good.
And what inspired you to create art?
I think I've always been like a creative person. When I was a kid, I used to really love expressing myself creatively through like making things for my family for gifts, um, theater, singing, uh, drawing, doodling. I liked making little comic books
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, and
Oh,
just like I had this story about teenager dogs that like just like had fun together when I was a kid.
oh, I didn't know that. That's so
I just it just came to my mind because I was just thinking about like composition books throughout my
yeah,
life, and like I remember specifically like this dog prom.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Do you still have them? That's so cool.
probably it's somewhere like deep. Yeah.
It's time to resurface that. That's so cool. And so when you decided to pursue art as a career, did you receive support from your family and friends?
I did. Yeah. I was surprised by that too. I went into after graduating from high school, I went into college thinking that it was completely necessary for me to go into something practical that would make me money, like reliably make me money. Um, but and then so I was like really lost for a while going into school because I thought like, okay, like which career path am I gonna
Mhm.
take? I've always been a creative kid, always wanted to like express myself through um, something that kind of took me outside of myself. Um, so it was like denying this part of me for a really long time, or I guess what felt like a long time. Um, but then when I told my parents, like, this is what I want to do, they were happy for me, and they just wanted me to be happy. And if I worked hard at it, they thought I'd be fine. So
Nice.
that was, I think I'm really lucky, and I've been told that multiple times by people like, "Wow, you're lucky that your parents support that," because I know for so many people that's not the case.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so we can segue a little bit into your schooling because you went to many, many schools. So if you want, we can get started with community college and then just go from there. And you can talk a little bit about your experiences in each school that you went to.
Okay. So out of high school, I went to Kapilani Community College. I wanted to go like the economical route, and I knew that I had to like get my maths done, all of my foundational or elective courses done, and I thought like this would be great. I won't have to have like thousands of dollars spent, like tens of thousands of dollars spent every year to go to school, and as long as I apply myself, that's what I need, right?
Mhm.
You can go to the best school in the world and still not apply yourself and not get anything from it. So that was my mentality going in, and also like exploring what I needed to do. So there, I like took some religion classes, took some physiology classes,
Mhm.
learned some lucid dreaming for my science of sleep class, which is really
Nice.
cool. The theater, dance, and psychology. And I was really bad with psychology. I just wasn't ready for that
Yeah.
kind of text. Um, and guitar. So I was just like really exploring options and having fun. Um, and then I took a painting class with Chloe Kang. And at that point I realized like, okay, like maybe like I should go to UH to like continue this. So I did my liberal arts degree there at KCC, and then went to University of Hawaii at Manoa, where um, I focused on a BFA in sculpture. And I didn't know that I was going to go the BFA route when I first got there. I thought I was just going to do bachelor's in studio arts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I was introduced to sculptural work through Fred Roster, who later became like someone who was definitely a mentor to me. Um, and I, I went to public school growing up, so we didn't have the facilities that would introduce me to like any kind of sculptural techniques to make art. So the only visual communication I really knew was like painting and drawing and a bit of printmaking. And then taking this intro to 3D composition class with Fred Roster completely like opened my eyes to like the way I perceive form in three-dimensional space, and tactility and materiality. And he encouraged me to go for the BFA in sculpture. And it was a really, really cute moment that happened between us. I was at an advising appointment with Suzanne Wolf, who used to be the
Mm-hmm.
chair of the ceramics area. And she was telling me about like classes to take. And then Fred comes and walks in, and he asked me like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm gonna paint or something.
Yeah.
And he said like, no, don't do that. um, you should get your BFA in sculpture because uh, you did really great work, and it'd be a waste if you didn't go for that waste of your talent. And so that like shook the world for me. I like called my mom immediately after and was like, my sculpture professor loves my work and thinks I'm really talented. Um, and so that was a big life change. Um, and then a year after the BFA program ended, in the year between, I worked to raise money for grad school, and
Mm-hmm.
I applied for Crown Academy of Art, where I majored in metalsmithing with my MFA. And there I worked with Edith Eichenberg. Um, and I don't know if a lot of people know about Cranbrook Academy of Art, but it's not like a university. It's a private art academy that is only for graduate students. So it's like a lot of focused time on researching, professional development in your own way, um, critique, lots of dialogue, and studio time,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I thought was going to be like the best transition from being a student to being a professional artist and just professionalize myself through
Mm-hmm.
like that, your own time management and um, yeah, managing other projects through there. While I was there, I was a department assistant,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to manage a lot of events within the department, travel,
Mm-hmm.
studio visits with other artists internationally, and do all the cleaning schedules and event schedules that we had for the department. And I think that like really helped me to hone in on those like project management sort of skills. And yeah, Iris was I chose to go into metalsmithing to work with her specifically because
Yeah.
uh, she's she's a toughie. She's a toughie. And I knew it from the moment I talked to her when I was have my interview with her. She like called me, I guess because of the time difference, the Eastern time difference with
Mm-hmm.
like Hawaiian time zone. She called me and it was like the morning for
Oh yeah.
me. I was just waking up. I was like fully naked waking up. And I heard her voice. She's like, "Hello, it is Eckenberg from Cranbrook Academy of Art." And I was just like, oh, no, okay. And I hopped out and just was like, hand on my hip, just talking, like trying to like wake up completely. Um, just the kind of questions she was asking me, like really challenged me and like put me on the spot and made me feel like I'd be supported while also challenged working with her. So that's my educational experience as far as institutions are concerned.
Yeah, awesome. And then I don't want to forget before we go into more details about you because we're doing really good on time. Um talk about your traveling in when you were at UH because you mentioned to me that you went to Florence when you were in UH.
Oh yeah. Before my BFA year, I studied abroad for a summer in Florence, and I studied art restoration and conservation.
Mhm.
I think a part of me really wanted to do that because I want to learn there's like other branches of the art world, like not just the art making, but also like other technical positions that I guess would allow me a wider breadth of options after
Yeah.
graduating. But like outside of just learning about those techniques, just being there and being able to see like what La Academia looked like, what like these spaces that are really built around the art and the architecture feel like and what that does to the culture there. It's just like you don't always learn things just from I mean you don't learn everything you know from college and it's just from the experience of being there. Um, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And then also when you were doing your MFA, you also talked about doing a group exhibition
Hmm.
in the
Yeah,
Netherlands.
so yeah. So
So cool.
we had like the privilege of being able to travel from Michigan, where Cranbrook is, to Europe to do a couple of group exhibitions at Gallery Marseille in
Mhm.
Nijmegen in the Netherlands. So a part of what we did there was we collaborated with um, Beijing International College of I think Art and Design.
Mhm.
And so we had this group show where we would have a theme and make work with that theme and show it there.
Yeah.
Um, but for that trip, uh, I was a department assistant at the time that we went there first. And I had to plan all our studio visits, our transportation, um, and help out with shuffling everybody around. And in that time that we were there, I actually got in contact with the artist that I wanted to do an internship with
Mm-hmm.
in Amsterdam. And so between all the studio visits that we did, there's one artist that I wanted to work with. His name is Midine Bolink, and he works at the Rietveld Academy there as
Yeah.
well. And yeah, we went to a studio, and I said, like, hey, so I'm the one who emailed you about assisting over the summer, so do you need some assistance? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to have you. So, of course, I went to Amsterdam for the summer in between my first and second year of grad school. And that was a great experience with Medine, just like having someone whose like thoughts I was really interested in, talking about like my own process as an artist and his process. I mean, all of that is a part of my education. I don't think I didn't necessarily learn like a ton of techniques from the work that we were doing together, but what I gained most was just like the conversation and the value of those conversations that still carry on with me in the work that I do.
Yeah,
So
thank you. I didn't want to not bring that up. And I was like, I hope she talks about value in conversation, because when we practice this, I really enjoyed what you said about value in conversation, and that's also another way to become educated.
what do you
So,
mean about practice? This is all improvisation. This is
yeah.
like top of my head.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
this is the first time we've had this conversation.
That's right. That's right. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for saying all that. And so, my following question is, what do you feel that school prepared you for?
I think a lot of it prepared me for writing
Mm-hmm.
about my work. Uh, that was something that is now really a part of my practice too. Is just like writing like bits and pieces of artist statements, doing like these word associations with forms. It's something that I think about a lot, and I don't think I would have had all that writing experience had I not gone into the BFA program. I don't think I ever had to write an extensive artist statement before that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, definitely writing to talk about myself and my work. I figured out what styles of writing I liked and didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was great. Of course, like as a department assistant when I was at Cranbrook, it prepared me for like managerial work, because
Yeah.
that's what I had to kind of do as a department assistant, which is like manage time and events and everything, and hone into that. Uh, Really honing into that type A personality. That was great. I mean, just being in the space of education kind of allows you to like figure out starting to navigate these social dynamics, and it's really just like being in school is kind of a microcosm of the rest of the world, right? So like how you navigate your way through that is going to kind of determine like how you navigate your way outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So just the value of other people and being able to work with other people as well.
Nice. And so, what did you feel that school did not prepare you for?
I remember having a hard time with this
Yeah,
question
yeah.
because I like have a hard time separating school from school,
Mm-hmm.
or school from education, I guess.
Yeah.
And like it has to do with how much you put yourself out there, right? Like um, if you're in school and you're doing what you have to do, but you're not really putting yourself out there to like meet people or explore things outside of that comfort area, like it's not going to serve you anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, but while I was in school, I was lucky enough to meet with local artists who like came to the area to get um, assistance from student artists. And so like people like John Koga and Lawrence Seward would come to back to the art department, to the sculpture area, and hire students for casting, metal casting assistance. And like that gave me some professional experience and also like a gateway into the larger art community proper. Um, and I'm super grateful for that experience and having that technical skill set that I learned from Linda Yamamoto, who taught metal casting for years at the university. I mean, you either learn about connections being important or not in your own time, you know?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it doesn't prepare you to have a personality that people like, you know?
No, that's very, yeah, no, that's true. Because I was gonna say one of the things that we talked about was like writing grad proposals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I wish I had a bit more experience learning how to do technical writing
Yeah.
because like I can do other kinds of writing, creative writing. But I do like I feel like I have a hard time writing like things for grads. Like just like the technical writing that's necessary to like lay like budget out or lay objectives out. Thank you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No worries.
How did you read my mind?
Yeah. The gift and a curse. No, but yeah, thank you so much for answering the questions and just being so honest and open about everything. So now we get to one of my favorite parts, which is you talking about your artwork. And so I know if you wanted to do a little studio visit, like a tour, so you're more than welcome to do that if you can. But then you can also just talk about any body of work you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to my monitor right now. I have like an image up of a recent show that I did at the University of Hawai'i at Manoa. I guess like right now I'd want to kind of bring everyone through my process of working.
Yeah, of course.
So the things that I work with then have to do with like positionality of women within the patriarchy, labor, care, intimacy. And so like the work that I make, they're influenced by forms that exist in our lived spaces. So if the work is larger, it's work based on like the architectural spaces within a home, furniture, things that are lived in and lived with. So all those like taking cues of form making from forms that are in existence kind of gives me this this pathway between like inherent meaning and created meaning when they're combined and like mixed up with different material to communicate a different side of those things. So within my studio space, I like to like live with the things kind of sprawled out. I like having anything that I'm inspired by visible in the space that I'm working within. So a lot of that has to do with like text as reference. This is one of my favorite ones that I use. I refer to the forms of like medical implements, like anatomy, and domestic objects or toys, things like that, and they all all these different object languages. They speak to different sensations, I think, in people, sensations and like emotive responses in people. So that's what I try to touch upon with like the use of materials and forms. So I have this book that I have on hand. I like to keep fabrics around. So I'm going to start putting it to the other camera.
Go for it.
So I have like different color fabrics and leathers that are around, just like dress forms that I can like pin things on or like just like play around with different colors. So I just have like, or like here I have like little test braidings and stuff like that. There's some like partial pieces around fabrics and leathers, and also things that I have to work through. So I have this little thing. I like making like color charts for myself that are also material charts.
Oh.
So when making work, I guess I'm kind of a type A person because I like planning things out, but I also like letting the colors and the forms drive the direction of things.
Mm-hmm.
So these are like different leathers, velvets, micro suedes, materials that are kind of live existing within similar color families.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I start introducing like material families, then I can like kind of place them and see like, okay, like how does that color play off of that color, or like do I want this work that I'm making to be more homogenized as far as color is concerned, but like um, have like this different tactile sensation between the pieces. Um, and so I have like these enamel chips for like, I like that. I
Yeah.
just picked a random chip. That was cool. I like that blue against that. Um, and so, and like that's like closer match, you know? So um, I like to play around with these things and then put metal against them. And I do this as well when I have like objects that have texture, like see how um, the material is laid against these textured surfaces or these objects. And I also have like just as like I'll try to find spaces in my area to lay some tools and objects out, things that then inspire other shapes in my work. So I'll look for patterns in the work. I'll look at like things. Some of these are like just out here for like the shape of the handle and like how that feels in the hand, how much space is needed for the hand to like operate this properly. Like there's like the slight differences between like this double grooved handle here versus like this handle that has this opening in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So these all kind of inspire the forms in the work, even just like this, like the unknown and figuring out how does a hand sit in these pieces. Because I'm really interested in the way that people can imagine my work can be handled
Mm-hmm.
and lived with. And so I had just boxes of like toys here and objects, things that I think that people might want to put in their mouth or
Oh.
like rub against their face. And so like let me go to the monitor. And so one of the recent shows I did was utilities at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And in this exhibition, we were all given the same size like platform to work off of. And so we made work that was inspired by objects. And so the way Gay Chan curated this show. So what she wanted us to do was to make our display that involved the made objects and display inspired those works. So that is like that I already kind of do. I like lay things out and kind of make these collages of pieces, like these collages of like disparate objects, and try to create conversations between them. So this is like an overhead view of that. And I think this is one of like the more interpretive exhibitions that I've made because I think they all allude to the body somehow, but not explicitly in one way or the other. So I really love the conversations that came out of this exhibition. People who felt kind of sheepish and were asking me if they were sexual and not knowing if it was appropriate to ask if they were sexual when they clearly are.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm working on some pieces for Honolulu Museum of Art.
Mm-hmm.
So next year we're going to be having the Artist of Hawaii exhibition, which I'm a part of, and for that I'm making work that is part weaponry, part biology,
Oh.
thinking about like the way a woman's womanness can be like weaponized against her,
Oh.
and how like in a patriarchal society, like no matter what a woman does, like we'll still like it's like a double-edged sword. How like we behave, how like our bodies are treated, like the kind of agency we're able to have over our own bodies. It's all that's what I think about when I think about like these like new weapons that I'm
Mm-hmm.
making. And so a lot of the techniques that go into it like involve a lot of labor and um, are like I'm trying to create this fusion of the language between medical implements, the body, and um, pre-modern combat weapons.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So that's some of the stuff I'm working on. I don't want to like show that stuff too much, but I'll do like a
No,
very, very quick peek. Just like a bam, 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 bam.
okay.
Like that's all. And then I have some work on the floor right now for another show that's been postponed because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I was afraid of like going over time, so I'm not going to.
No. Don't. We're doing so good on time. We have a lot of time, so don't worry about it. We can probably get to it more. Yeah, because we're doing pretty good. So if we have time at the end, if you want to show a little bit more, you're more than welcome to. But
Okay.
thank you for showing us your studio. I wanted to say this before I forget, but every time you show your studio, I just love it so much, and I love how it's so organized, and you just
Thank you.
you have the dream space that I want. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I like cleaning up the space before I work on something
yeah.
new. Like uh whenever I'm working in between two projects, I have to like clean a
Hmm.
significant amount of it to like be able to focus new energy on something new in the space. So
That makes
it's
total sense. Yeah. And then you talked a lot about your process, and I actually didn't know that that's how you start your process in your art. So I thought that was really it was cool for me to see because I don't think I you start your process. So I was very like I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. Um, so you kind of show a little bit about it. I want you to talk a little bit about how long it takes to complete a piece, and then I'll ask you a few more questions.
I guess that's the hardest question is how
Yeah.
long does it take?
Mhm.
Um, because I'm often working on multiple things at the same time
Mhm.
based on like what techniques I'm working with. So like I'll work on all cutting for like maybe two or whatever pieces
Yeah.
for one day, and then it transitions to like this phase in both of these pieces. So like I mean hours, days, I'm not really sure. Um, Also it depends on if I'm trying to make work that is like small things that are like can be sold in a shop readily,
Oh.
or if it's um, the practice I have for exhibition work. So it's a big range from like maybe a few hours to like a few like some days or weeks. Like the work that I have on the floor is like the moments of time I have to steal between other moments of time to make jump rings and uh, develop calluses to connect them all, and
Yeah.
and then it's interspersed with like having to roll my back out because it hurts so bad to sit on the floor. I can't handle
Yeah.
that anymore. Like
Yeah.
and I think like the time you give your body to rest is all a part of that as well, because I'm not trying to get like carpal tunnel syndrome when
Mhm.
I'm in my 30s. Like that's not cool at all.
It's not. It's not. That's a very, very accurate thing for artists. So accurate. Yeah, no, thank you for answering that question. And then, oh my gosh, I was gonna ask you something else and it totally slipped my mind. but it's okay. I'll go to the original questions. So the following question is, because you answered all the other ones I was gonna say earlier, is how do you feel being a female artist? And it's a question that we talked about before. It's like, if you've ever felt harassed or not supported, um, when practicing your art.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely dealt with microaggressions in the sculpture area when I was an undergrad, especially because like not everybody who goes through there is necessarily woke or feminist.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had some really like irritating moments in
Yeah.
that space. Like right now, just thinking about it, I'm like getting super fired up, and I like want to go back to that space and like have a new list of like comebacks for this
Yeah.
person, and I'm still feel very aggressive about it. But I was taking a carving class in undergrad, and we had a wood project and we had a stone project. And for the stone project, for either project, you can work with different hardnesses of wood or stone. Mm-hmm. And I was at the point working on a wood carving project, and this guy, this dude, like he
Yep.
he asked me, he was like making conversation with me, trying to be friendly. He's like, oh, so when you get to your stone project, what kind of stone are you thinking of using? And I was like, oh, I'm not really sure. I guess it really depends on the form that I'm making and what I decide I want to do, like what colors I want. He's like, oh yeah, well when you get to that, like when you get to picking out your stone, maybe you shouldn't choose granite because like granite's a really hard stone to work with. And I was like, oh, excuse me? Like what? Mm-hmm. He's like, no, it's just like really hard. And I was like, oh, thanks for telling me that stones are hard to work with. They're hard. And he's like, yeah, well, it's just like because they're heavy. He just kept talking. He's like, oh, it's just like really heavy and like, you know, like not that I'm saying you can't do it because you're a woman or something, but it's just you're so much smaller than me. Mm-hmm. I said like, oh, excuse me, I like didn't hear any of the last thing he said or cared about those things. Yeah. Because they're irrelevant. Mm-hmm. So I just walked away at that point and like went to my friend who was like ride or die and like complained to her about this guy, like, dude, did you hear what this guy said to me? And she's like, I'm there for you. And like came rushing down, started like carving on her stone project and like waited for every moment that he'd take his mask off and she just like grind away until all this like stone dust would fly in his direction to like bother him, just defending my honor. And yeah, like I had that incident happen to me because I'm a woman and because I'm like 5'2", and this guy didn't realize that I can cast metal or could like carry things with a dolly or hand truck or can figure out leverage with objects to carry things that are too heavy. Yeah. And then I've had the comment like, oh, it must be nice to be, it must be nice to be cute because like you can get like shows like that, like it's so nice. It's infuriating, and of course like it's uncomfortable, and I don't want to deal with that, but I think that's just the reality of like really being othered in a lot of ways, right? Like like Western art or like so much art is like male dominated and like I mean it's the same as like when you're being described in a show, like no one says like so and so is a male artist, but it's like
it's true.
They'll have like full on like all women or like non-binary shows and it's like this is an all-female show. She is a female artist. Like, there's a reason why we have to claim those identities because it's not a space that is made for us. We're like, we are othered in that situation. So, like, there's no way that I can avoid identifying as a female artist or, like, feeling like a female artist within a space. And even being like a woman of color artist as well, you know, that's always at the forefront of my. it's maybe not at the forefront of like my art making practice, but it is inherently there.
Mm-hmm.
That lens of being like a woman of art, of color, and a female artist. That's that's going to color that lens no matter what. Um,
Yeah.
and the way that I am approached and the way that my work is approached.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
and yeah, I didn't no, if I didn't want to interrupt you, but I don't want you to forget to mention something that we talked about that I think is important when you I'm trying to remember how you worded it because I don't want to word it incorrectly. Is when you were talking about how if you get into a studio space, you have
yes,
that mentality of like, is it talent
yes.
and color?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think.
Well, like, I mean, there have been moments that I've had scholarships and to like go to like Oxbow in Michigan. Is that in Michigan? In Saugatuck, Michigan, or like um, and it, yeah. Whenever I've gotten anything, like I think that there's that that sense of like unsureness in your own merits that comes with those things. Um, like if I got a scholarship to go to Oxbow for a part of the summer, and there's always that twinge in your mind, like especially if you're going to a predominantly white space, like am I here to fulfill a brown girl quota? Like is
Mhm.
that why I'm here, or am I here because I came here on my own merit and my talents? And so
Yeah,
that's always that like conversation that you have that I have to have within myself, and like it's a self-deprecating feeling that like cis het white men don't ever have to deal with, um, and it's because it's that's like that's been built into like the structure of our society, right? That
yeah,
um, like we had to like have these scholarships to diversify the spaces, like,
yeah.
and so that already puts you on the outside of
Hmm.
like this space was not meant for you, and so yeah, that always it feels bad. It's definitely self-deprecating, and it forces you to feel that it is. Um, and but I had a really great conversation with someone about that, and I said that to him. I said like, you know, like, are we just the token brown people here on this campus? Um, is that why we're here? And then he said to me like, you know, maybe, but if you think of it the other way, like for generations, white people got what they had because of the color of their skin
Yeah,
for everything, right? Um, so it's hard to battle with that, I think, when like with your own identity and also wanting to like um, be representative and be responsible for being representative
yeah,
of your people when like you don't see many people like you in those
yeah,
spaces. So I
yeah.
think that puts a priority on like having to be a representation, which is a lot more pressure than other people have to deal with, you know?
True. Thank you so much for saying all of it. I am so so grateful that you open up this conversation and you're very open about it. I really, I hope whoever's watching it also appreciates it as I do. So my last question to you, and then we'll, oh no, sorry, I have two more, and then we'll open it up for the audience to ask questions, is how are you taking care of yourself physically and emotionally during this time?
So during this time, what you're referring to as
Yeah.
COVID time,
Yes, yes.
um, I'm so lucky that I have my own studio at home and I still have projects to work on and continuously work on. So I've never been without something to do, which is awesome. Um, I mean, as an artist, you never run out of stuff to do, really.
Mhm.
Like,
I agree.
right? Can you have, like, do you have the luxury to be bored when you're an artist? I don't know. Um, So I've been doing a lot of that, like just like making sure I'm giving myself time and giving the work time.
Yeah.
And like it's nice to have like um, maybe time that is unadulterated by
Yeah.
other things like so much socializing too, because like I get to let things breathe in the space and not have everything be so like urgent.
Right.
I have that. I've been noticing a lot more work that's like collaborative that's been coming out of this
Yeah.
time, which I've loved. Um, this last few months, I've been working on. I was working on the hand metal project, which is um, a project that was started by Iris Eichenberg and Jimena de
Mm-hmm.
los Rios, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a project that like was had like 3,000 participants worldwide working on this, making hand medals out of like metal and ribbon and safety pins that would be like tokens of gratitude and honor that we give to frontline healthcare workers.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've distributed tens of thousands of these hand medals to different healthcare workers. I've been in charge of doing that in Hawaii and had like seven other local artists work on that with me to distribute uh, hand medals to people just to honor them. Um, and so, like collaborative group things like that have been really feeding my soul in a way that I needed. Fundraising efforts for like Black Lives Matter, um, for the typhoon relief in the Philippines, for Planned Parenthood, for Get Us PPE.
Yeah.
Um, that I've been doing this in this time, and working with plants. I have plants outside,
Yeah.
so I'm like not really good with plants, but I'm trying to be. And then one of the most recent fun things that have been like very, very healing for me is learning how to twerk
Yeah.
because I've never known how to twerk. But then I have a friend from grad school who tried to teach me then, and I just was not ready for that. It wasn't right for my body.
Yeah.
And then I just made it a point that I want to know how to do this, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do it. And so I practice every night, just twerking a little bit.
Love
And
it.
I think it was really bad at first, and I didn't like having to look at myself in the mirror, because of that. It was so awkward. But then like I think I'm good at it,
Yeah.
not confident in it to show it to anybody else, but like good, like
Yeah.
I think I have the muscle memory in my body now. So every night of twerking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Perfect. And so my last question to you before we leave it for open for audience, because I think we'll have like 10 minutes for questions, is do you have any advice for artists?
Yes. Especially student artists, I think. It's it's nice to be kind. Like
Yes.
uh,
Great.
no one no one wants to work with someone who's like pompous and arrogant,
Yeah.
or maybe most people. Some people maybe want to and are okay with that, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt or like cause you any hardship to just be nice, a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially for student artists, I think students have to be able to advocate for themselves, to be compensated fairly for whatever labor they have,
Mm-hmm.
to give to like local artists that are asking for their assistance. Um, it's because that's the thing that I feel so heartbroken about when I see that like student labor is abused by people.
Yeah.
When students are like the brokest they could be and like the most stressed out they could be, and then they're also abused for their free labor because it's thought of as the opportunity or the gateway to
Mm-hmm.
something. Like if you can't be paid for what you're doing, like have something in kind, like really like be compensated in some way, like with really good studio hours and studio access and material access.
Yeah.
But don't do stuff for free,
Mm-hmm.
please. Also, like ask if you want something, like ask for it. And the worst thing anyone can tell you is no.
Yeah.
So if you want an internship, ask for it. If you know like the worst thing someone can say is no to you. They're
Mhm.
not gonna say like, no, die in hell, pig. Like, you can't have this internship.
Yeah.
Um, I think, yeah, it's just advocate for yourself. Um, I don't think most people would hold it against you if you just knew your worth.
Mhm. Awesome. Thank you, Juvana. Thank you so much for doing this and just sharing all your wisdom and your journey. I'm really happy we did.
Wisdom.
You do have wisdom. You do.
Thank you.
So now we can have it open for questions. So if anybody has any questions they would like to ask Juvana, feel very free. I don't know if you've seen the people who are watching. I don't know if anybody that is watching but what I had Kiki do is just like call them out and like ask me a question. But hopefully we won't have to do that and people can just ask questions on their own.
I feel like I talked so much and so extensively about things that I don't. Maybe I already satisfied some questions that might have been there.
Maybe. Well, we can wait on it. I see Maria's watching. Maria
Hi,
loves
Maria. I like the peaches that were in response to
yeah,
my
the
twerking
twerking.
question, my twerking
Yes.
thing. Does anybody want like an ASMR guided meditation through finding twerk in your body?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Because you said you wanted to do it. If they say yes,
Yeah.
do it.
They say
Hopefully
yes.
there's still people joining. Oh my gosh, someone said no.
No, no.
How rude. How rude.
Yeah, no, I don't have to.
Okay.
What drew me? What drew me back to Hawaii after grad school? What are you hoping to do in Hawaii?
Oh, Maria.
Um, what drew me back to Hawaii after grad school was, I think, like, I felt a debt of responsibility to my community.
Mhm.
Um, my mentorship with like Fred Roster and the way that he moved me through my own career, or even started it, was an inspiration to do the same
Mhm.
for people that were coming up, um, and may have needed the guidance in the same way that I needed the guidance from Fred.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm from here. I love Hawaii,
Yeah.
so I felt responsible for how I wanted to see this space developed and how I wanted students to see themselves reflected in me, I guess. Um, because you can do outreach anywhere, wherever you get the job. You can teach anywhere,
Mhm.
but I wanted to um, I wanted to feed the yum yum treats that I got from my experiences to like the people where I'm from.
Yeah.
I felt responsible for that. And yeah, my family's here too. Like I love my family. I'm such a nerd for my family, man.
Yeah.
And my friends and
Yeah.
like my chosen family.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Oh, there's I'm a metalsmith.
Thank you. Yeah, I read that. Thank you so much. And
Oh,
oh, Okina Jewelry, she was also someone who participated in a hand metal project and made a
awesome.
lot of like beautiful powder coated hand metals. So that was I think that was like such a lovely project to work on, and being able to like deliver those hand metals to the healthcare workers
Mhm.
and like get pictures back, which I'll be sharing. And just there's such low morale in some of these spaces that they're just surprised and grateful for any bit of kindness that they get their way.
Yeah.
Like one group was like, "Oh, do we have to donate money to you?" And I was like, "No, these are gifts for you. Like, just take
Yeah.
them. They're nice. They're good for you." Uh, they're just not everyone's expecting that to be extended to them, and that was just like really really lovely to do that for people.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And then I just saw that Rebecca joined. She said she wanted to see
Yeah.
you before. And then I think Maria does want that twerking to happen. I saw her.
Oh, the twerk, ASMR twerk. But the other person might just like leave. I don't know how long it's gonna be. Oh, um, um, okay. Okay, I want everybody to close your eyes then. Can everybody close their eyes? so that I can just get into it?
Yeah, you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Go, Juvana.
Okay. So I'm gonna feel the vibration in your body. Feel it. Now imagine your spine is a cat and a cow, and arch it just to, I don't know. I didn't plan this. Like I thought of this like in depth. I'm kidding. Yeah. No, open your eyes, open your eyes.
Okay.
But literally like twerking I found out is like isolating this lower section of your back. And like if you know yoga and you know the cat pose and you know the cow pose in yoga,
Oh, is that
it
what
is literally cat cow, cat cow, cat cow, cat cow, cat cow, but faster. And just like this lower portion of your back.
All right. No, I think I might
So
do it.
like the faster it is, it's like cow, 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 right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you like, just listen to that in your body tonight, and hopefully, I will have taken you on that journey through twerk.
Yeah. Thank you, Juvana. Yeah, does anybody else have any questions for Juvana? We have 3. I kind of want Rebecca to ask a question. Sorry, Rebecca, I'm calling you out. Because I have a question, but I kind of want to wait and see if maybe somebody else wants
We
to
only
ask.
have 3 minutes, though, don't we? Or do you have a timer going on?
I'm just looking at the clock. What's your inspiration?
Oh, what's my inspiration? Living. I mean, there's so much. I work with like emotional trauma in the work. Tell us about my daily meals. Oh, I like I've been like eating a lot of mint from my garden and smoothies. If you put mint in a fruit smoothie, it's the best.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I've tried it. It's so good. It's very fresh. It like
Yeah. 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 Because Rebecca missed like the studio tour around the space.
Oh, that's
But
right.
I do like work a lot with like women's issues, and trauma. There's trauma, but yeah, there's always that sort of line that I'm trying to navigate in my work. Like, how do you talk about trauma without re-traumatizing people? And how do you talk about um, bodies without like having the body there, but like having something representative of the body and like be that emotional space holder for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paige.
Thank you.
Is metal medicine? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe it gets in my like. I mean, it definitely gets in my blood somehow, like through my skin, and like when I cut myself in the finger once in a while, it gets there. I like Rebecca's real wild off the wall question.
I know, I love it because she's like, she wants questions, they're gonna get
Yeah, yeah.
well, we have time for one more. I actually wanted to ask, is there anywhere you would like to travel to next?
God, anywhere not here, honestly. Like most places not here.
Yeah.
I definitely. I mean, I want to go to Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. I mean, I want to go to Japan. I was supposed to go to Japan this year. Philippines, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to go to Japan earlier this year, but my exhibition had been postponed
That's right.
to this coming year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, all the plans from this year have been postponed until next year or beyond. So, hopefully, travel reopens in time for those things to happen.
I hope so.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think Instagram's gonna cut us off soon. I can feel it for some reason. But thank you everybody for watching, and thank you, Juvana, for everything. And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, and it just means so much to me that you said yes and you gave us a tour and just shared everything. It was awesome.
Yay, I'm glad. Thank you. Thanks, Maria, for popping on.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like literally 3 in the morning for her. She's in Iceland right now. You are like a trooper.
Oh my
Gee
God.
whiz.
Thank you, Maria. You're amazing. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. All right, bye. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.